Tomorrow morning, before you open your eyes all the way, your dog already knows. Not because it heard you, because it learned when you usually wake up. Welcome to Dog Mind. Subscribe if you're new. That didn't always happen. There was a first morning when it started. And understanding how a dog learned to synchronize itself with your routine tells you something very specific about where you now sit in that dog's world. Start with what researchers call temporal learning in dogs. Scientists have spent decades documenting that dogs possess an extraordinary capacity for what is known as time-based behavioral anticipation. That is, the ability to learn that a certain event happens at a certain time of day and to adjust their behavior accordingly. This is not a vague sensitivity to morning light or ambient sound. It is a precise internal system built from observation. And the target of that observation, in most cases, is you. In a study published in Applied Animal Behavior Science, researchers monitored the behavior of domestic dogs during the hours before their owners returned home. The dogs were alone in the house. No one was present to cue them. The researchers recorded their behavior using hidden cameras across multiple days and multiple owners with different schedules. What they found was striking. The dogs did not simply react to the sound of a car pulling into the driveway or footsteps approaching the door. They began showing anticipatory behaviors, moving toward the door, becoming alert, pacing near the entrance, up to 30 minutes before the owner arrived, at moments when there was no external sensory stimulus that could explain it. No sound, no smell at that distance, no visual cue from the window. The most supported explanation is not extrasensory perception. It is the dog's internal clock, calibrated to your routine. Dogs have robust circadian rhythms, biological internal clocks that regulate their cycles of sleep, hunger, and alertness with impressive precision. But what distinguishes dogs from most other animals is that this internal clock does not simply register time in the abstract. It does something more specific. It anchors itself to a person. Studies at the University of Veterinary Medicine in Vienna have shown that dogs living with a single consistent person develop what researchers describe as a temporal profile specific to that individual. Not a general schedule, not a time of day, that specific person. If you change your routine, the dog adjusts its anticipatory behavior over the following days, recalibrating as the new pattern becomes clear. If you maintain the same routine, the dog predicts it with a precision that most owners never notice because they assume it has always been that way. Think about what that requires cognitively. Your dog had to register you as the central element of the event, not the food bowl, not the sound of the door. You. It had to accumulate enough observations of you moving at a particular time to construct a working model of your pattern. And it had to associate your specific sensory profile, your smell, the particular rhythm of your breathing when you shift between sleep stages, the way your weight redistributes on the mattress before your eyes open, with what follows. This is not anticipation of breakfast. It is anticipation of you. Your dog has built a model of you in time, not just in space, and that distinction matters more than most people realize. If this changes how you'll see your dog tomorrow morning, subscribe to Dog Mind and share this with someone who has a dog. Every week, there is something here that makes the ordinary moments with your dog feel less ordinary. There is a distinction most people never notice. A dog living in a household with unpredictable routines, multiple people coming and going at different times, no consistent schedule, develops a different anticipatory pattern than a dog living with one person on one consistent routine. The first dog learns to stay broadly alert. It responds to signals as they arrive. The second dog learns to anticipate you specifically. And the difference in what the dog is actually modeling changes the nature of the anticipation entirely. When that second type of dog begins waking up right before you do, standing at the front door at the exact moment your commute is ending, growing restless in the late afternoon at the precise time you usually leave your office, it is not responding to the environment around it. It is responding to its internal model of you. You became the event, and time became a property of you, not of the surrounding world. This is the moment worth pausing on. If you have ever come home to find your dog already at the door before you put the key in the lock, that was not coincidence. It was not that the dog heard you from down the street. It was that its internal model of when you usually arrive had become precise enough to place it at the door before you appeared. The dog did not know you were coming. It predicted you were coming. That model was constructed from every day you came home at roughly the same time. Every morning you followed the same sequence of movements. Every night you settled into the same routine before sleep. You did not give the dog the model. The dog built it by watching you, silently. Across mornings you were not paying attention to. Across ordinary days you have already forgotten. There is a practical way to verify this. For the next week, vary your timing deliberately. One morning, get up 40 minutes later than usual. The following morning, get up 30 minutes earlier. Pay attention to where your dog is and what it is doing at the time you would normally wake up, regardless of what time you actually choose to get up. If your dog is simply responding to environmental cues, light coming through the window, sounds from the street, the temperature of the room, its behavior will track those external variables, not your schedule. If it has built a model of you specifically, you will see something different. On the mornings you get up later, your dog will still approach your bed at the usual time. It may rest its head on the mattress. It may simply sit and wait. On the mornings you get up earlier, it may already be awake, already positioned, already oriented toward you when you arrive. The dog doing this is not following the sun. It is following its prediction of you. The first morning your dog anticipated your waking was the morning its internal model reached a threshold of predictive confidence. Before that morning, it reacted when you were already moving. At some point, the model it had built across every ordinary morning became reliable enough to change its behavior. The arrival before you open your eyes, the wait at the door before you pull up, the restlessness that begins before you send the last email of the day. These are not accidents of timing. They are evidence of a model, built in silence, from observation, without your knowledge, that has become precise enough to predict you. The breeds most likely to develop this kind of anticipation with the greatest accuracy tend to be those selected over centuries to work in close coordination with specific humans. Border collies, golden retrievers, Labrador retrievers, spaniels and shepherds of every variety. These are not dogs that were bred to guard a perimeter or chase prey independently. They were bred to read one person, to watch that person, to anticipate that person's next movement before it happened. But this capacity is not limited to working breeds. Any dog that has lived long enough in a consistent routine with a consistent person develops some version of it. The depth of the model depends on the length of the relationship and the consistency of your presence. The dog that most precisely predicts your movements is not necessarily the most intelligent dog in the room. It is the dog that has been watching you the longest. It is the individual that has accumulated the most evidence about you as a person in time, your schedule, your signals, your particular rhythm, and whose internal model of you is the most refined. The next time your dog is waiting at the door when you arrive, or wakes up right as you do, or settles down at your feet at the exact moment you finally sit still, remember what that actually represents. Not instinct in the vague sense, not luck or coincidence, a model, built in silence. From nothing except the ordinary days you showed up in your own life doing what you always do at roughly the time you always do it. Your dog did the rest. Have you ever noticed your dog waiting for you before you arrived home, or waking up at the exact moment you do? Tell me in the comments what breed and how close the timing gets. Subscribe to Dog Mind if this changes how you will look at your dog tomorrow morning. And share this with someone whose dog is already at the door every time they arrive, because now they will know exactly what that means.